I'm Mاجد أ.م.د. Dean of I'm Mاجد أ.م.د. Dean of College of Arts, University of Basrah. Today, I am very pleased to introduce our lecturer, Prof. Reza Pishghadam. His lecture is Emotionacy-based language instruction. Dr. Reza has a PhD in ELT. He is currently the Vice President for Academic Affairs, Firdousi University of Mashhad, Iran. He is now Professor of Language Education, who teaches neuropsychological and socio-psychological aspect of language education, and the Professor by courtesy of educational psychology, who teaches courses on social cognition. Over the last 10 years, he has published more than 100 articles and books, and has participated in more than 20 national and international conferences. In 2007, he was elected to become a member of Iranian's National Foundation of Elites. In 2010, he was classified as the Distinguished Researcher of Humanities in Iran, while in 2014, he also received the Distinguished Professor Award from Firdousi Academic Foundation, Iran. Please welcome to Dr. Reza, and you are more welcome, Dr. Reza. Now I am leaving the banner to Dr. Asad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
it. Yes, Doctor. Marhaba. So I present Dr. Reza. I will not add what the dean say, but I ask the students just to listen to Dr. Reza because he got
Can I start?
I think, yeah, you can start now.
Salamun alaikum. Salamun alaikum. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you are safe from coronavirus, and this is my great honor and pleasure to be here. In the first place, I'd like to extend my gratitude to all my dear colleagues and students in Basrah University. And really, I'm very, very delighted to be with you today. And my special thanks go to Dr. Mاجد, who has invited me to this meeting. Today, I'm going to talk about the idea of emotionacy-based language instruction. I'm sure that you like the idea at the end of the day. This idea of emotionacy is something that my colleagues and I in Firdousi University of Mashhad is developed, and I'm sure that it can be of help to young researchers and teachers. Okay, with that in mind, just because I'm going to have a kind of interactive session, please just help me because I'm going to talk. I was informed that the lecture is up to 2 hours, and therefore I need your cooperation and participation, okay? So let me start with this question. Can you name some language teaching methods or approaches? Because the focus here is on approaches. Please just participate in discussions and just let me know. I cannot see you, unfortunately, because I have shared my screen, but I can hear you. Just name, please, any students there. Is that possible to answer me or not? Dr. Asad, is that possible? Dr. Mاجد, Asad, anybody? Ustad Kyan, is that possible to be connected with the participant? Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, anybody who's going to answer my question, please just.
I can answer, sir.
Okay.
Yes, there are many methods of teaching language. For example, audiolingual methods and communicative language, teaching language.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you. For example,
Thank you,
here,
sir.
just to refresh your memory, just look at the list that here we have. For example, we have audiolingual methods, direct methods. Yeah, you remember Suggestopedia, total physical response, cognitive co-language learning, communicative language teaching, or humanistic psychology, you know, emotion-based language teaching, multisensory education. Of course, the list is far from comprehensive, and you can add a lot of, you know, methods to this list. Something like neuro-linguistic programming as a kind of technique, for example, or multiple intelligence theory, again, as a kind of technique or as a kind of inspiration for language teachers. Anyway, we have a number of teaching methods or approaches here that today I'm going to introduce one more, let's say, that approach that we can take into consideration here. Just look at this, the title that here you can see is core concepts in teaching methods and approaches. I'm going to talk about these, you know, let's say the concepts here. If we get back, if we get back to the previous, you know, let's say that teaching methods, for example, we have audiolingualism, and you know that in audiolingualism, here, the focus is on repetition, for example, because that's a matter of behaviorism. And the second one, for example, cognitive co-language learning, the focus is on meaning. It's not rote learning. For example, in audiolingual method, you remember that that's a matter of drills, and you're going to repeat something all the time. But in cognitive language learning, the focus is on cognition. The focus is on meaningful learning, not rote learning. The third one, for example, communicative language teaching, again, that's a matter of interaction, etc. Based on that, this is what I'm going to talk about. Whenever you're talking about methods in language teaching and approaches, there is a core concept that the whole method revolves around that concept. For example, when you say audiolingual method, the first one, look at the first one, that's behavior. That's a matter of behaviorism, psychology, yeah? Skinner, for example, that's a matter of stimulus response, and you are well aware of these methods. And you know that here we say that that's the overt behavior is important. That's a matter of repetition, for example, in audiolingual method. The second one, for example, that's cognition. When you say cognition, it means comprehension, it means meaning. For example, in the method, cognitive code language learning, what is important is understanding, not rote learning or repetition. The third one, you can see here that society, in society, what is important is interaction, like communicative language teaching or task-based language teaching. You know, the class is going to be authentic. The students just gonna communicate all the time in the classroom. So the next one, emotion, refers to humanistic psychology, for example, or positivistic, or positive, let's say, psychology. Here, what is important is students' emotions. Here we say that, for example, a way to a student's mind is through his heart, her heart. So here, the teacher is going to control, curb emotions in the classroom, like self-efficacy, self-esteem, to be optimistic in the classroom, emotional intelligence, something like that. So here, number 4, so in this type of, let's say that these types of approaches or methods, whatever you want to call, the
سوري حنين حبيب طفي المايك رجاء طفوا المايك طلاب طفوا المايك
حنين mute your mic. حنين, do you hear me, حنين?
السلام عليكم. العفو، صاحب الميت يقدر يخرجها، إذا ما تسمع يقدر هو يكتب عنها صوته ويخرجها.
أستاذ كيان.
نعم دكتور. الو. لا قاعد نسجل دكتور، جاي نسجل. لا جاي اسجل من بدايتها. لا ما انسى لا ما انسى بس وين هو؟ ما هو المحاضر ما ادري وراه. هسه ما هو طلع وينه؟ خابرت تواصل معاه طلع ما ادري طلع.
دكتور حسين.
نعم دكتور ماجد.
شوف دكتور رضا.
شنو طلع؟
اي نعم ما موجود.
عجب طلع. لا عليكم السلام. هلا دكتورة، شو اخبارك؟ خليه اتصل بيه واشوف شنو القضية، ليش ما موجود. نتصل بدكتور ماجد.
Sorry, there was a problem seemingly. Yeah, there was a problem.
Okay, no problem. You can go ahead, please.
What was the last slide that you just saw? What was the last slide? Was
cognition?
it this one or that one? Which one was the last slide? Which one?
Yeah, this one, the core concepts.
Yeah, that was the last slide.
The core concepts. Yeah, this.
Yeah.
This one.
Yes, it was.
Okay. That. Yeah, anyway, just did you hear me covering all of them or not?
Yes.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Let me just talk about the idea of emotionacy. So you didn't hear about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Doctor, go ahead.
This is a new
Thank
term.
you very
This
much.
is a new term, I think.
Okay, thank you. Just I was talking about, emotions is a concept that my team and I developed in Firdaus University of Mashhad, and emotions is a blend term consisting of emotion plus frequency of senses. As a matter of fact, just to put in a nutshell, sense-induced emotions relativizing cognition. Just this is in fact the definition for emotionacy that I'm going to talk about it. Don't worry, okay? So we have taken the idea, we're inspired by Greenspan's DIR, for example, Chomsky, Piaget, Vygotsky, Brunner, Halliday. I'm not going to talk about these key figures that you're familiar with. But anyway, when you just see Chomsky focuses on, language or syntax that you are familiar with. Or cognition is important to Chomsky. Piaget, for example, constructivism, I'm sure that you are familiar with that. What's important to let's say that Piaget is, let's say that individual constructivism. We have Vygotsky. What is important to Vygotsky is society. What is important to Brunner is society. What is important to Michael Halliday, functionalism, is again society. So when you just see these key figures, Chomsky focuses on something, Piaget focuses on something else, Vygotsky focuses on something else. Everybody has a core concept when he's going to talk about his theory of, let's say that in linguistics, philosophy, psychology, or sociology, or linguistics. Here, what we have adopted here, the idea of emotionacy, the focus is on the combination of sense, emotion, and cognition. So we believe that we need a full picture. We need a comprehensive picture to take into consideration different things when we are going to just, let's say that view the world. So emotions is a combination of sense, emotion, and cognition. As a matter of fact, we are going to use the full capacity of our brain because our brain consists of, a cognition, emotion, and sense. That I'm going to talk more about it. That was my question, and I was waiting for some respondents. Unfortunately, there was a connection. This is the connection here. Can you just answer the question, which word does a kid learn faster? Based on your own experience, banana or ant in English?
Sorry, sir, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, you cannot see the PowerPoint now? Can you see which word does a kid learn faster? Banana or ant?
Banana.
Why is
Banana.
that so? Yeah, I think that there is a lag here that you cannot see it. Oh. There is a lag here that, can you see it now? Let me.
Yes.
Yes, we do, sir.
Which one? You said banana. Can you say why? Why is that banana? Why is that banana? You know that banana is a, let's say, the 3-syllable word. Is that right?
Yes,
It
it's easy
consists of
to.
3
Clear.
syllables. It's longer, but ant just 1 syllable. It's not long. But why do you say that banana is learned faster?
It's smoother when we talk banana, more than ant pronounced.
Sorry? Why? Why is that so?
It is more smoother when we talk, when we just say banana. It's smoother when not like ant. It has a hard pronunciation maybe on the child pronounce.
But ant somehow simpler to pronounce. You say ant, just 1 syllable word, yeah, ant. But here you got banana, 3 syllables, banana. But you say that banana is learned faster. Now
Yes.
I know that. Why?
I think
Why
it's
is
more.
that so?
I think it's more repeated.
Repeated and simple on child pronounce.
Just
Smoother.
imagine. No, that's the question. Just imagine this is the first time that the kid is going to learn banana and ant. Got 2 words here and going to teach these 2 words. And this is the first time And now which one a child is going to learn faster? That's in fact the question. And this is the first time.
Yes,
It's banana has not more pressure or hard pressure when we pronounce.
Let me just explain something. Do you agree with me that, you know, a kid's going to learn banana faster because, although it's long, it's a long word comparing with that end, you know, because, you know, kids have got stronger emotions for bananas than ants. You know, they have eaten bananas in their own mother tongue, I mean, not in English, in their own mother tongue. They have tasted it, they have eaten it, therefore they've got strong emotions for that. But ant, maybe they have not played with ant, they have not experienced somehow ant, and that's why the concept in the mother tongue, not in English, I'm not talking about the words in English, I'm talking about the concept in the mother tongue, you've got somehow stronger emotions for bananas, and that's why kids prefer to learn, because in day-to-day experience, they make encounter, you know, banana, but not ant. Okay, anyway, just keep this important point in mind. Just gonna explain it more. Are you familiar with that phlebotomy? What comes to your mind by the word phlebotomy? Have you heard about phlebotomy? Because I'm sure that you are familiar with the concept phlebotomy. Do you know what it is? Anybody, please just help me. Phlebotomy. Have you heard about phlebotomy?
No.
No, you don't know what it is, but I'm sure you know what it is. You don't know what it is. You said no. So have you heard about it? You
Yes, I think yes.
don't know what
Yes.
it is and say that, okay, you can just in Persian they say hijamat. In Arabic, I don't know what you say. That's a kind of, you're bloody. Huh? It's kind of blood, you bleed. No? Did you
Yes.
check it? What do you say? What do you call it in Arabic? How do you say it in Arabic?
سحب الدم.
What?
سحب الدم.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. So have you heard about it? You might say that I've heard about it. And have you seen it or not?
Yes.
You've seen it.
Yes.
You can see that this is in fact phlebotomy. This is phlebotomy. Yeah, just you cut somebody's body just to bleed, you know. And this is in fact, you've seen it. You said yes. Thank you. Have you touched the spot of people's on people's back, lady?
No.
No, you see? Yeah, blood. It's awful. Yeah, disgusting somehow. A dirty blood, that's going to be dirty blood out of your body. And you said, no. Okay, but you've heard about it, you've seen it, but you have not touched someone's back. What about, have you done it? Have you experienced phlebotomy?
Yes, sir. Many times.
No.
You have done it, huh?
Yes, many times. Many times.
Okay, you said
Yes,
yes, many
yes,
times.
sir.
Can you just talk about your feelings, please? Can you just describe the types of emotions that you have for phlebotomy?
Yes, I feel pain.
Okay,
Pain,
just elaborate
it's-
more. Elaborate
yes.
more.
Yes, it's more painful, sir.
Yeah, I know, physically,
For-
but what happens?
Yes.
Why do you do that? Why do you do that? After that, you feel healthy? Why do you do that? Just talk about your emotions, feelings.
Yes, I feel sick, and someone said to me, "Go to this one."
Okay.
Yes.
So, okay, thank you very much. That lady,
Thank you, sir.
That lady just answered my question. You know, she said she has heard about it, she has seen it, but she has not touched someone's back, and she has not experienced. But you said you have experienced phlebotomy. That's great. What about this one? Is there anybody here that just doing any type of research into phlebotomy?
It's not
No, it is
deep
because
research.
to do with emotions. To do with
Yeah.
emotions. Because it is hard on emotions. People avoid it.
People avoid it. No, just doing research into that. Have you done any research into phlebotomy? I'm talking about phlebotomy.
No,
About
for me, no.
this bleeding. No, you have not
Just
done
a
it.
lot. Just a look on.
You have done it?
Just a look, not a deeper research.
Okay, just a look. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Okay, so look at this one. In fact, there is a kind of gap here that I'm going to talk about it. Somebody has heard about it, somebody does not know what it is, and somebody has experienced it, has done it. And so you see that we have different people here that anybody has a kind of experience for that. You know, a kind of auditory experience, somebody's got a kind of visual experience, somebody's kind of kinesthetic experience. So here we see there is a kind of gap. Whenever we talk about, for example, phlebotomy, we think that we are on the same page when we talk about it, but in fact we are not. Let me just elaborate more. Look at this, because that's very important. Just look at that. This is in fact the model, Emotionacy. And what does that mean? Look at the tail of this. Null emo. Null emo means null Emotionacy. We have audio Emotionacy, visual Emotionacy, kinesthetic Emotionacy, and also we have inner Emotionacy and arch Emotionacy. Here, as you can see, we have evolvement, exvolvement, and involvement. And you see some numbers here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What does that mean? You know, look at this here, we got a number of senses here. We say that null Emotionacy, you know the meaning of null. Null means zero. You've got zero experience of something. You don't know what it is. When you say auditory Emotionacy, it means that you have heard about it. You have just heard about it. You have not seen the concept, etc. Here, say visual Emotionacy. Visual Emotionacy means that you have heard about it and you have seen it, okay? And kinesthetic Emotionacy means you have heard about it, you have seen it, and also you have touched something. And inner Emotionacy means that in addition to the previous ones, here we can say that you have experienced it, you have smelled it, you have tasted it, okay? And the last one, arch Emotionacy. Arch Emotionacy means that you have, let's say, that done research into that. This is called arch Emotionacy. You have done research into that. So based on that phlebotomy, look, here we have evolvement, exvolvement, and involvement. Let me elaborate on that and these concepts. Look, we have involvement. Everybody has heard about involvement. Volve in English means turn. When you say involvement, it means that something turns into your mind, you know, in your mind. Let's say we said in, that's like import and export. It is inside your mind. This is called involvement. When you say exvolvement, that's the matter of, you know, like something like export. It means that, yeah, it revolves around your mind, but it is not inside, let's say that. Somehow it is not close to you. Somehow, that's why we say that exvolvement. And evolvement, A means zero. It means that you have no knowledge of that. Evolvement, it means that there is no knowledge. Look, here when say that somebody is evolved in something, it means you do not have any experience. You do not know what it is, not experience. You do not know what it is. For example, when I say that I'm involved in phlebotomy, it means that I don't know what it is. I've not heard about that term. When you say that somebody is exvolved in something, it means that that person has heard or seen it. When you say that somebody is involved in something, it means that you have experienced it. You have done research into that. So we have three groups of people: evolved, exvolved, and involved. Once more, when you say that I am involved, for example, you say, let me just give you another example. You say something like, let's say, sushi. Or let's say you might say that this is the first time that I hear it. I don't know what it is. So you can say that you are evolving that. But if you say that I have seen it, I know what it is, I've heard about it, so you are exvolving that. But if you say that I have already eaten it, I've done research into that, for example, so it means that you're involved in that. So, you know, so we have evolve, exvolve, involve. So this is in fact the meaning of evolvement, exvolvement, involvement. I'm going to just talk more about it, don't worry. So based on that, look at this pyramid here, just I've called it Emotionacy pyramid. What does that mean, Emotionacy pyramid? Again, from another perspective, we can see that here we have null Emotionacy, We have auditory emotionacy, we have visual emotionacy, kinesthetic, inner and outer emotionacy. And this is in fact the meaning of pyramid, emotionacy pyramid. You see here that you have null. It means that when students go to class, they don't know, they are not familiar with some concepts. And teachers are gonna just give lectures. That's going to be auditory. And teachers are gonna use the PowerPoint, for example, in the classroom. That's going to be auditory and visual. And teachers gonna just ask the students just go to laboratories, for example, to touch something. That's going to be kinesthetic. And the students gonna just do more research into that. That's going to be arch or inner. So that's why, as you see here, that mostly teachers use lectures in the classroom. That's why we say that, you see here that that's going to be the bottom. A large amount of our teaching is based on auditory or visual, and not arch ones. Can you hear me? Sorry, from time to time, just let me know.
Yes,
Yes,
we
very
hear you.
well. Very well.
Can you see the PowerPoint here? Because I was informed that, you know, the PowerPoint. Can you see the emotionacy pyramid here? We cannot see it.
No,
No.
it's a 10. It's a 10. It's okay.
It's okay. You can see it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Let me show you.
No, it is not presented. It is not presented. Now we are see you. You are in the picture.
What about now?
Yeah. Just maximize it.
Yeah, the emotionacy pyramid. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes, we see it, but you are not presenting, sir. You are not
Sorry?
presenting full page. You are not presenting in full page, sir. Not on
Just
the
share
full
the
page.
screen, please.
Can you share it, please, sir? We see it small. We cannot see it on large. Please share it, please.
Okay, let me just present it
Yeah.
once more. I think that there is a problem. Yeah.
No, there is no problem. Just start slideshow from the current slide.
Okay. Okay, let me please.
I am the host.
Now, can you just let me present?
Yes, sir. That's great.
Yes,
That's
clear now.
Thank you very much.
You can see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
This is in fact the pyramid. This is in fact the pyramid. Evolvement, involvement. You can see it from another perspective. You can see it. Okay, that's great. And look at this. You know, this concept of emotionacy. Let me just elaborate once more. Emotionacy, you know, means that sense-induced emotions which relativize cognition. It means that different combinations of senses can impact our cognition, comprehension, in meaning and interpretation of the world in a different way. For example, if you, let's say that add audio and visual type of combination, the emotion is going to be different, and at the same time, comprehension is going to be different. For example, somebody who has experienced phlebotomy, it means that the person has been caught, let's say that he's got the strong emotions for that, or proximal emotions the person has, and the person who has only heard about something. For example, I say caviar, and you've heard about caviar, or you've heard and seen caviar, you know, you've got audio-visual type of combination here. So your understanding of the world is gonna be different. I'm going to elaborate more. So look at this slide here. I've named it sense-bination. Sense-bination means combination of senses. And as you can see here, auditory A stands for auditory, V stands for visual, taste, smell, and kinesthetic. And for example, if you add auditory with kinesthetic, then what happens to our cognition understanding? If we add auditory with, let's say that the smell here, then what happens to understanding? AT, AV, KS, KT, KV. That's very important. You know, in multisensory education, we say that we should just combine different senses in order to teach more effectively. But here we believe that each combination of senses is very, very important because it conveys, it generates, let's say, that a specific type of emotion, and at the same time, it conveys a different type of meaning here. Look, all the time we take it for granted that when we talk about something which is somehow common to us, for example, we are talking about university, we are talking about, I don't know, something like that, we take it for granted that we are on the same page when we talk about, for example, phlebotomy here. But maybe you have experienced phlebotomy. I have not experienced phlebotomy, but you have experienced phlebotomy. So you are involved, I'm involved in that, okay? Because only I have seen it, I have not done it. Therefore, I'm involved in that, you are involved in that. And now we are going to just talk about phlebotomy. So we take it for granted that we are on the same page, but you are on page, let's say that 200 of phlebotomy, but I'm on page 10 of phlebotomy. So that's matter of cognition. You have different emotions for that. I have different emotions for that. Okay, I'm going to just talk about, you know, the experience that I have done in Mashhad. I will just talk about it in a moment. And I'm going to just talk about some experimental studies that we have done here. And after that, I'm going to just show you a clip. Yeah, I'm going to show you a clip in my laboratory that you can see what we have done here. Look at this phlebotomy. That was this is in fact the name of an article, Conceptualizing Sensory Relativism in Light of Emotions, a movement beyond linguistic relativism. That's matter of relativism, that you are familiar with that. Here you see that 24 individuals here ranging from 23 to 50 years old, coming from different socioeconomic backgrounds, but interviewed to emotionally analyze the word phlebotomy, that blood, let's say that letting that you are familiar with that. Look at the results here. That's very interesting. Look, you see, this is in fact the model of emotionacy. You have a valve, X valve involved, emotionacy, and this is in fact the emotionacy. You move forward or you move backward. Just that you know, there were some questions like that. The X-valve learners, X-valve, let's say that people and involved people. And as you can see here, that when you say that somebody's emotions is high, it means that the person is involved. The person has experienced it. But when you say that somebody's emotions is low, it means that the person's is evolving something or evolving something. That's very interesting. When we ask, you know, evolved individuals, those who only heard about emotions, they say, look, that's very interesting. They say that, oh, phlebotomy, that's blood. Barbarian, HIV, just one word. Shorter talk time they had, because just they hear about that. They do not experience it. But when you just talk to people who are involved, in fact, they experience it or they have already experienced it, they say, first, they have longer talk time, just they use metaphors. For example, I remember that one of them just said, that's like spring. When you, let's say, experience phlebotomy, that's like, let's say that the spring, it gives you energy, new life, and yeah, your eyes are gonna just be shining when you just do phlebotomy, something like that. They had wider vocabulary side, or they use analogies and metaphors when we just don't talk about it. What I'm going to say, when you're involved in something and when you're involved in something, you have different interpretations of something. So different combinations of senses might come up with different emotions and might come up with different types of understanding of the world. And that's very, very important. If you do not grasp the gravity of this simple fact, then you might have different misunderstanding. Let's say that you might have misunderstanding in the world. You see, when you're involved in something, you've heard only about something. Let's say you've heard about the United States of America. You've just heard about it. You've not been to the US. So you might have a kind of interpretation of the US. You might have negative or positive emotions for the US. And here we can see that I've written hyper or hyper reality. Hyper or hyper reality, it means that this is a kind of exaggerated reality. It means that I have only heard about the US, which might not be true. I've seen some movies about the US, which might not be true. But if you have been there, then you can say that this is closer to reality. You are involved in that because you have been there, you have been in touch with people there, and you have experienced the US. So whenever as an involved person you talk about the US, you've got a kind of emotion which might be different from that of a person who's involved in that. So you see, based on being involved or evolved, then we have different emotions, and then we have different interpretations of the world. You know, so far so good. I want to just show you something before just talking about the applications in language teaching. I have established a laboratory in Ferdowsi University of Mashhad, and in this laboratory we combine different senses. Look, we combine different senses to see the effect on the learner's comprehension and emotion. So we use an EEG device here. EEG is a device, is a kind of cap which is going to measure or capture the brain waves. We just call it ERP or EEG. And based on that, we want to see what happens when, for example, we expose learners to audiovisual, what happens, to their brain. When we expose learners to audiovisual kinesthetic, then what happens? When we expose learners to audiovisual kinesthetic, tactile, then what happens to their brain or understanding and emotion? Just in a moment, I want to show you a clip from one of my experiments in Ferdowsi University of Mashhad. I want to show you a clip on the lab. Of course, it's in Persian. Sorry, just you can see, but the that device, the EEG, and how do we, let's say, capture brain waves and analyze here. I think that's a kind of break that you can just have here, not to be fired. And if you're ready, I can just show you. Are you ready?
Yes, of course.
Yes, we are.
Go ahead,
Can you
sir.
just see? Can you just?
Go ahead.
Yes, we
Okay,
are.
that's
Yes,
good. That's great. That's great. And let's just. And by the way, this is Ferdowsi University of Mashhad. I'm going to show you. This is the Faculty of Letters where I teach. Okay. Sit.
Doctor, please, just can you close your mic and open the mic that you shared of the video?
I should just
So,
mute
close your
my.
mic
Okay. Okay.
and open the mic of the video.
Sorry, we can't hear, sir. There's no voice, sorry. No voice, please.
چطور بود؟ سخت بود؟ خیلی سخت بود که تو می‌خواستی بشینی؟ آقای حکایتی اسم قصه گوی ماست زیر گنبد کبود شهر خوب قصه هاست زیر گنبد کبود شهر خوب قصه هاست خوش اومدی با مشتاق تعریف کنم بعد چیکار کردی؟
ستاره بود بالا شکوفه بود پایی قصه ما تموم شد قصه ما
پایین اومدی آه بود رفتیم بالا آسمون تا قصه های دیگه خدا نگهدارتون پایین اومدی آه بود رفتیم بالا آسمون تا قصه های دیگه خدا نگهدارتون خدا نگهدارتون خدا نگهدارتون
اومد رو پاورپوینت؟ آره؟ Okay, I hope you liked it.
Yes, that was great. Thank you very much.
That's
Yes.
a kind of work on neurology. You know, neurology, we have published a number of articles, and if you surf the net, we have published articles, you know, in neurolinguistics journal and a number of highly prestigious journal. You can just surf and you can see the relationship between Emotionacy and EEG or ERP, issues like that. Okay, anyway, just I'm going to cover another article which is related to English language teaching. Maybe that was the first article that we have published here. Emotionacy, a post-linguistic, let's say that aspect here toward vocabulary learning and retention. That was maybe the first article that we have published here, the vocabulary teaching criteria. These are some, you know, applications for the concept of emotions that I'm going to share with you. Just some, let's say, the applications of the concept. That here we have. Can you just see the PowerPoint? Because I was signaled. You cannot?
No presentation, sir. No.
Oh, again, so I'm going to start from the very beginning.
Yes, please.
Yeah. I have to present from the very beginning. An introduction and all that. I hope you can see it now. You can
Yes,
see it.
we have it now. Thank you very much.
Okay, so sorry. Okay, here that vocabulary teaching criteria, just imagine that you're going to teach vocabularies and we can just teach vocabularies. So what criteria, or let's say that based on what criteria do you pick vocabularies? That's based on frequency, valency, prototype, availability, learnability, cultural factors. What are your criteria based on which you want to just choose some, let's say that words to teach?
For me, sir, for me, it is more cultural. To do with culture, because culture is very important to language teaching.
What about frequency? What about frequency? You don't like to
frequency also. Yes, again, frequency and culture for me.
Okay, frequency and culture. What about,
Yes.
for example, valency? Valency is a word like a thing. Thing is a word, whenever you don't remember, for example, the exact name of something, you say, give me that thing, give me that thing. This is called valency.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, these words, in fact, cover a lot of other words.
Yes.
Okay, anyway, just what I'm going to say, we have a number of criteria here. Just I'm going to use Emotionacy as a new criteria that I'm going to talk about it now. Look at this one. That's a kind of experiment. Look, in this experiment, we have. Do you see the PowerPoint? I think that there is again time lapse here, time lag here. Oh yeah. I think that we have a problem here. I don't know why that you cannot see it. And if you cannot see it, this is not good.
Yes, we see now participants, sir. Participants.
Okay. Participants, that's good.
Yes.
Because you see it, right? You see? You see it?
We participants,
yes.
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. You see, in this experiment, we had 45 English language learners. from three, let's say that classes in society: high, mid, and low, let's say that, or working class families. We had kids from high class families, mid class families, and working class families. They were all 14-year-old, let's say that boys studying at the 8th year of grade school. They were selected from schools located within various regions of the city with high, mid, and low socioeconomic status. That's very interesting. A list consisting of, let's say, 500 words was given to the learners. These, look, you see these words. The students from high class, for example, they pick some vocabularies from high class, let's say that families like pineapple, peanut, pet, pie, short, something like that. And that was, of course, our guesstimate. Students from mid-class, these 7 words that you can see here, yeah, 7 words. And for students from low class, like pebble, fairness, hunger, something like that. All these students were supposed to learn all these 21 words, all of them, okay? But that was our guess that these words belong to, let's say, high class families. These 7 words belong to mid-class families, and these 7 words belong to low-class families. And all of these students were supposed to learn all 21 words. And interestingly, here, you see, that was the idea of Emotionacy. And the Persian translation of 20 targeted words were presented to the learners as a task to measure the amount of Emotionacy for each. For example, they were asked before the experiment, they were asked, have you heard about pineapple? Have you seen pineapple? Have you touched, have you eaten pineapple? Okay, just it goes without saying that high class, let's say that the students or kids from high class families, they were involved in, let's say, the pineapple, but mid-class families, maybe they were involved in that, and low-class families were evolved, let's say that in that. So we had evolved learners, involved learners, and involved learners with respect to the word pineapple. For 21, just we had numbers there. For example, you see that the first one is for high-class families for the word pineapple. You see the second for mid-class, and you see the last one for low-class. And you remember that type of numerical representation of Emotionacy, that 0 stands for evolved, 1 stands for auditory, 2 stands for visual. And then you've got kinesthetic, inner, and arch Emotionacy. So here you see the results. Individuals from the high-class status possess the highest amount of Emotionacy in comparison with the ones from the low
Sorry, sir, we don't have the slide. Dr. Reza, we don't have the slide. This is only participant slide.
Oh, that's so bad. That's so
Yes,
bad.
sorry about that. Only the participant
Yes,
slide.
Google Meet. You know, this is the first time that I'm working with Google Meet, and I'm not quite familiar
Yes,
with that.
we have them now. We have them, sir.
You see, this is in fact
Instruments.
instruments. Yeah, that was what I explained here. 21
Yes, yes.
words. You can see that here, students from high class, students from mid class, students from low class. You know, we picked some words from each class, and all students, these 3 groups of learners, were supposed to learn all 21 words. Okay? You see? What can you see now?
Participants, sir.
What about now?
Instruments, sir. Instruments.
Okay, that's great.
Instruments, yes.
Yeah, you see, this is instrument. And what about now?
Procedures.
Procedures.
That's
Procedures.
great. You see, this is in fact the pineapple that was explaining. You know, that was pineapple. A pineapple, you know, Persian translation of 21 targeted words were presented to the learners as a task to measure the amount of Emotionacy for each. And you can see that, for example, for the word pineapple in the mother tongue, pineapple, what do you just, how do you say it in Arabic? What's the translation in Arabic?
Ananas.
Translate to Arabic, how do you translate it to Arabic? Pineapple?
Ananas.
Yeah. For example, in the mother tongue, in Arabic, they were asked just to say whether they have eaten it, whether they have heard about it, like that phlebotomy, whether they have touched it, and based on that, each person was received a kind of, let's say, score for each concept. And you can see here that, for example, for the high class learners receive, let's say, number 3, and mid-class number 2, and low-class number 0 here, okay? So anyway, let's just talk about the results that you can see the results here?
Yes,
It
we
says
have
also.
them. We have them.
Results. You see that
Yes.
individuals from the high class status possess the highest amount of emotionacy in comparison with the ones from the low socioeconomic class. Can you just explain why? Why is that so? That access to a wider range of L1 vocabulary can impact second language learning, which is English here. Can you say why?
Yes, you mean, sir, learners of high class, they get more language 1 or language 2, sir.
Yeah, just want to say that we're talking about language 1, first language. Yeah, we're going to say
Yes,
that
sir.
your experience
Yes.
in your mother tongue, because you have touched, you have eaten pineapple. When you're involved in pineapple, when you have eaten pineapple, that's going to affect, let's say, that second language learning. When I have experienced it, when I have inner emotionacy for that, when I'm going to learn it, let's say that in English, that's going to somehow easier for me. When I don't know what it is, even in mother tongue, so when I have just heard about it, when I'm just expounding that, that's somehow difficult for me to learn it, let's say that in English. This is what we have found here, that emotionacy is something like a background knowledge that you do not have for that. You do not have that type of, let's say, emotional background knowledge. You do not have for that. When you have eaten pineapples, for example, when you have eaten pineapples, then you have strong emotions for that because you have tasted it. You know what it is, and that's very, very important, okay? But that's going to affect the way that you're going to learn it in English. Look at this one. You know what contextualization is? I'm sure you know what it is, yeah? Contextualization. Whenever you're going to teach vocabularies, for example, you are asked just to contextualize it. You say that, okay, just put it into a context. When you're going to, for example, teach pineapple, you're going to put it in a kind of context in order to teach it. You, for example, bring it in a kind of, let's say, the sentence saying that, okay, this is pineapple, and which is used in a sentence, and then you present it to your students. We just call it contextualization. But in another article, we have used emotionalization instead of contextualization. We believe that a teacher is going to contextualize a concept, and at the same time, that teacher is going to emotionalize it. I'm going to talk more about it. In order to, let me just check whether you have taken the concept, grasped the concept here. Let me check something just to make sure that we are on the same page now. Look at this. Look at this, please. Can you see it? Can you just read it?
Yes, we see the cake.
Can you just read it?
We see the cake.
Can you just
Yes.
read it?
Yes, I can read it, sir. There
Okay,
are
just-
two. Yes, there are 2 cakes. Each cake is cut into 9 parts. Each part is further cut into 3 pieces. How many cake pieces are there in all?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Just imagine that you are a math teacher and you are going to give your students some problems. Which one do you pick? And let me know why. Okay, this is one problem. Let's just go to the second one. This is cake problem. Let's just go to the second one. Now, please just read it.
Of course, sir. A school has 2 dining halls. Each dining hall has 7 tables. If there are 4 children to each table, how many children stay for lunch?
Okay, that's the second one. This is dining halls. And let's just go to the next one. This one, please just read.
A board game contains 4 red coins, 26 blue coins, and 22 green coins. How many coins are there in all?
Just imagine that you're going to teach kids mathematics. And this is the last one.
Robert invites 20 boys and 29 girls to his birthday party. How many friends did he invite?
Okay, so once more, we have 4 problems. This is in fact cake, This is dining hall, this is board game, and this is Robert invites, birthday party. So which one do you pick?
It depends on emotion, sir. If I like cake, I would pick one. Or if I have friends and love my friends.
Just sorry to interrupt you. Look, all of them have been contextualized, but the level of emotioncy here is different for kids. So here I mean that if you're going to choose cakes, you might say that my students are familiar with cakes, they are involved in that, that's why they've got emotions, a high level of emotions here for cakes, therefore I prefer to choose this one. Maybe dining halls, you're teaching at a place, students are somehow poor, they've not seen, they've heard about, let's say, the dining halls, maybe they have not experienced that. When they've got problem with the concept itself, how is it possible to focus on numbers here in mathematics? Or let's say that board game. I don't know whether students today are familiar with board game. When I was a child, maybe I was familiar with that. But nowadays, I wonder whether our kids are familiar with that. They've got the low level of emotioncy for that. And the last one is the matter of birthday party. Have they experienced birthday party? If they've got emotions for that, if they've got emotions for that, so that's somehow easier for them to grasp the concept. You see what I'm going to say, that whenever you're going to teach, let's say that in this example, we're going to teach kids, and they've got different levels of emotioncy for different concepts. And now you're going to focus on numbers here. That's a matter of mathematics, for example. And students might just be confused here if they are not familiar with the concept. For example, the concept is the birthday party, the concept is dining hall, and they are involved in that, or they are involved. So when you're involved in the concept, how do you expect them to just calculate something for you? That's a kind of overload for the cognition, for the mind. So you see what I mean by emotioncy here? By emotionalization, it means that all of them have got context, but maybe the level of emotioncy for one is higher, so we prefer to choose this one, or this one, or this one. It depends. Let me give you an example. Another example. If you are going to teach birds, or let's say animals, which animal do you prefer to teach first? Let me know. In English.
Maybe cat.
Cat. Okay.
Doctor, I think the animal with the short, simple name.
What else? You say that animal with the short, let's say that a short word like cat, dog. What else? What about camel? Pigeon. In English, whenever
it depends on the familiarity with that animal. I mean,
that's great. That's it.
Yeah.
It depends on the level of emotioncy, whether your students have already experienced that type of animal or not. Maybe you do not start with, I don't know, dolphin. You did not start with a horse, I don't know. But you might start with cat because maybe your students are familiar. They have already experienced cats. They've got cats. You can see cats on the street, and that's why you pick cat, for example, for, the level of emotions is very important. You remember that the idea of banana and ant, we said that here you say that I pick, let's say that I opt for cat because it's a small word, but for the ant, you say, that was ant and banana. I said, which one is learned faster? And you said banana. Because kids have somehow, the level of emotioncy for banana is higher. They have inner emotioncy for that. But for, let's say that ant, maybe, they have not played with ant. They have not, let's just see this one again. That's very important. You have eaten, you've got inner emotioncy for that, or maybe you've got only visual emotioncy for something. So when the level of emotionacy for something is low, the level of comprehension, understanding, and emotion somehow is so below. This is what we are going to talk about. This is in fact the meaning of emotionacy. It means that sense-generated emotions which change your understanding of the world. It refers to background knowledge that you have for different concepts. Yeah, that's in fact the meaning of evolvement, evolvement, involvement, because to me, you know, the whole world is a matter of evolvement, involvement. Okay, anyway, this is the formula. Let's say that this is emotionacy from another perspective, because in emotionacy, the emotions are also very important. As you can see here, that we check quality and quantity. Let's say the quantity and quality. We check a frequency of experience and emotion for that type of experience, whether you got positive or negative. And based on this type of model that you can see here, that we have a formula, then we can give you a number from 0 to 50. And based on that, we can just measure, you know, different levels of emotionacy for different concepts. And then we check whether we can just, let's say that we can just predict whether the person can learn English, for example, for these concepts faster, or somehow what is the, in fact, you say the rate of retention based on this model that you can see here. Okay, anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can just pose your questions. But before that, before just listening to your questions, your interpretations, your understanding, etc., just I want to show you, because I see about some of my colleagues here, I have a journal, and appreciate if you, let's say that, let me find it. Can you see the International Journal of Society, Culture and Language?
No, we have the thank you one.
You cannot see it. Let me just check. Let me. Yeah, you can just see this one. I'm going to. What about now?
Not yet.
Not yet. I want to show you something, and after that, I'm at your service. That if you're gonna just ask any questions or anything, let me find it. Really, that somehow I'm presenting. Let me stop this presentation, and then let me start again. Entire screen.
You are not presenting, sir, now.
Yeah, I know. Just I stopped it for a moment. Now I'm going to share with you. I hope you can see now. Can you see now?
Yes, we have it.
Yeah, this is my journal. This is a private journal, International Journal of Society, Culture and Language. It has been indexed, as you can see, you know, it's been indexed in Scopus, and that's Q4, Q2, you know, I can see the quartile is 2. And if you have any articles that you can submit, I appreciate it, on the relationship between society, culture, and language.
Yes, that's great. Thank you very much.
IJSCL.net, okay? Yeah, we have here a number of key figures on sociology or anthropology. If you're interested in cultural issues, I appreciate your contribution.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Okay, my pleasure, my dear colleagues and students. I'm so sorry to tire you. I'm here to answer your questions. That's not going to be a one-way street. So here I can see you now. Sorry.
Yes. Can I start, sir? Or
sure.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay. Could you just, okay, anybody is going, does any questions, please just pose. Okay, no questions. Yo, it means.
Okay, Dr. Asad. Dr. Asad, ask your question, please. Dr. Asad Chassid. Okay, we are trying. Dr. Hussein Ali Judi. Hussein Ali Judi.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, ask your question.
Okay, doctor says that when I want to teach, for example, the vocabulary of birds or animal, I can start with the whether this animal is familiar with students or not. Do you think that it is a standard criteria that I teach them only the animals that they are familiar with, or I can, for example, teach them the words that they are not familiar with?
If I'm not mistaken about the question that just posed, that's a matter of emotions. That's a matter of experience, because this is our understanding that when students are familiar with something, and when we just talk about familiarity, we break this familiarity into 5 parts. Familiar is let's say that vague term. When you say that somebody is familiar with a concept, it means that what kind of familiarity do you mean by that? The person has a kind of visual familiarity with that, auditory familiarity with that, kinesthetic familiarity with that. The type of familiarity, and the idea of emotions is going to say that the concept of familiarity is something somehow vague. And you say that, for example, and that's why we say that when students have got a high level of emotions or familiarity with a concept, so it's better just to work on that, or just to start with these words, just to motivate learners to learn faster, or to keep in their mind maybe for a long period of time.
Yeah, I agree with you. But we can also, impose, or we can pull up imagination. Like students can imagine that thing when we describe, that term for them, even if it is not familiar with them.
Yeah, that's of course that's right. But you can just ask learners to visualize something. But that's a matter of processing information. What happens to your brain or student's brain? And that's why I show you that clip. Because whenever students are familiar with something, they are processing the information is somehow faster and deeper, okay?
Easier,
but if
yes.
you ask them
Easier, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure. I'm so sorry for any type of, from time to time, there was a kind of disconnection here. And I said that I was not familiar with this. And this is the first time that I'm using, Google
Raising
Meet.
my hand.
I didn't know how to work with it. I'm so sorry if there was any inconvenience here or trouble for you.
Okay, we are taking another question. Please, Dr. Asad, you are raising your hand. Dr. Asad?
You are building your theory. Yes, you are building your theory on the humanistic approach. Naam. Yes, you hear me. Do you hear me? I am talking.
I heard nam, but not the first part.
Yes, I am talking now. If you hear me, let me know, please.
Yeah, I can hear you. Just.
Do you hear me, please?
No, I cannot do the.
Yes, I am talking, please. Yes, sir. You hear me now?
Yes, of course, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. You are building your theory on the humanistic approach to language teaching, and I wonder if you have referred to the 4 teaching methods like community teaching and silent way or total physical response. And you kindly mentioned Kaihan, and I wonder if you are talking about the psycholinguistic approach to language.
Yes, of course.
Which has been developed by Kaihan. That's
right.
Yeah,
that's a matter of I don't like to call it, psycholinguistics, because whenever you talk about psycholinguistics, that's in fact the relationship between linguistics and psychology. I prefer to use the let's say that this type of language, psychology of language education. Because psychology of language education is different from, psycholinguistics. Psycholinguistics is a kind of linguistic overtone, but when you say psychology of language education, that's a matter of education. And in language teaching, we're talking about education. When we just talk about teaching methodologies or approaches, of course, whenever we talk about sociology of language education, we talk about psychology of language education, it means that the focus is on education, but from let's say that psychological angle or sociological angle.
Yes, I got it now, but you are building your theory on the humanistic point, a humanistic approach to language teaching.
Yeah, one of them is humanistic psychology, but this is not our point here. That in Emotionacy, when we say humanistic.
Yes, it is built on that theory.
Yes.
It is built on that. I mean,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. You're absolutely right. Right.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Thank
Okay,
you very much.
appreciate it. Thank you very much. Like I said. Okay, I think there is no more questions. Anyway, nice seeing you and nice meeting you. Anybody?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Many
My
thanks.
pleasure. This is my pleasure, Dr. Majid. That was my great honor and pleasure to meet you here, and I hope that I can see you and Ferdous University of Mashhad, inshallah, next week.
Thank you so much for your effort, Doctor.
Okay, so sorry. Anyway.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my pleasure and my honor.
Many thanks, sir. Many thanks.
Okay. Great honor. Okay, so we can leave the session.
دكتور ماجد اذا تنهي الجلسه رجاء دكتور ماجد حضرتك.
Okay. Thank you for everybody. I hope we will meet again in next lecture. Thank you, Dr. Reza.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hope to see you in person, in flesh.
I hope so.
ان شاء الله soon. ان شاء الله.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.